The Black Ops storyline is many things, but one thing that is not is short on surprises. Things like plot twists and other things hidden away for years that players may never even pick up on, even if they study the lore and the canon of the Black Ops universe. And Black Ops 4 looks to take that statement and amplify it even further. Because while we do not have a Black Ops 4 campaign, we do in a sense via storylines for these specialists, which will make up an overarching massive video here that we have on the channel that's been weeks in the making, but it's something that honestly is mind-blowing, and I'm incredibly excited to share it here with you. I'm just putting the final touches on it, so perhaps in the next few days to a week or so, we'll have that entire storyline detailed here for you that really encompasses everything from Black Ops 1 all the way up to Black Ops 4. But as sort of a prelude to that, I wanted to give you one thing that honestly is a huge discussion in itself. The Mason family storyline within Black Ops 4 and how it ties all the way back and may have solved some mysteries after 8 years of the Black Ops universe. Today we're gonna be breaking that down, the entire lineage of the Mason family tree, and showing you just how it goes from Black Ops 1 to 2 to even 3, even though while at the time we had no idea that was gonna be a thing, it does seemingly extend over to Black Ops 3 and of course also in plain view within Black Ops 4. So that said, let's just jump into it. Let's flash back to 2010 real quick, in which we can end up seeing the introduction of Alex Mason, a centerpiece of what at the time players probably didn't know was going to be such an iconic piece to the Call of Duty franchise and the entire universe that became Black Ops. Alex Mason alongside Frank Woods probably are some of the most known names within the Call of Duty franchise, maybe even to those that don't play the game on a regular basis or have played every single game since then. They've become iconic, and while we end up going from the Bay of Pigs all the way to taking down the likes of Kravchenko, Steiner, and Dragovich, Black Ops 1 from start to finish was a testament to how much of a character Mason really was. His storyline really isn't anything that is too shrouded in mystery. His biography is laid out as someone born in 1933 in Alaska, and growing up that close to communist Russia was one of the main fuels for his enlistment in the United States Marine Corps. In 1958, he was recruited to the SAD-SOG after his what is stated exemplary term of service with the Marines, to which then directly following that, we end up seeing the events of Black Ops 1 start to take place with the Bay of Pigs invasion. Fast forward to Black Ops 2, and then we're introduced to the next of kin in the Mason family, that being David Section Mason. David Mason is the son of Alex Mason and picks up our storyline in 2025. Again, as his father, there's not really much shrouded in mystery here in this one, although there are some plot twists that do come out through the Black Ops 2 storyline, which can affect the outcome of the campaign within Black Ops 2, but if we're talking about canon, it is the one in which Menendez ends up getting stopped, Chloe ends up stopping the cyber attacks, and then Mason as well as Woods are reunited after 40 plus years. That actually is something that is referenced in the Black Ops 3 storyline, in which the one rare instance of something connecting back to the Black Ops 1 and 2 campaigns in that game was that it was mentioned Menendez got what he deserved, i.e. either rotting in prison or completely dying. But Black Ops 3 is where the story starts to get fuzzy, because we know of this perfect 2-game family reunion that happens after Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2, when everyone is reunited with each other, Mason's back together, Woods back in the group as well. But what about Black Ops 3? Because as we mentioned, there's really not all that much that mentions the events of Black Ops 1 or 2 in that campaign. Or is there? But not in the campaign. That's where the focus starts to shift, and where we start to see now this strange breakaway but also continuation of the storyline in multiplayer. For those of you guys that do know, Black Ops 3 had a multiplayer backstory almost as deep and rich in lore as the Black Ops 3 campaign. Black Ops 3 set up what eventually we saw with Black Ops 4 in specialist backstories, but only via the way of transmissions that could be found by completing specialist challenges. From there, we got a brief overview of some of the characters and everything they were about, and some of them, of course, even make their way back to Black Ops 4, and there's another little slight caveat with that, because Black Ops 4 takes place before Black Ops 3, chronologically, but we end up seeing that Black Ops 3 overall is a simulation. The specialists aren't actually people in the real world, they are fighting in a combat simulator that was sold to the highest bidder. Throughout those specialist transmissions, we end up hearing a little bit about the backstory of the specialist, but also we start to hear about this overarching project that somebody is reporting back to. There's a spy amongst the group that transmits information on each of the specialists back to an overarching body or governing board. So where this now starts to tie into it is that we don't actually have anything that at the time of Black Ops 3 gave us a continuation of the Mason storyline, but Black Ops 4 does, and as a result, connects Black Ops 3 and Black Ops 4 via multiplayer, and also transitions that campaign from Black Ops 1 and 2 to be connected and cross that barrier of campaign to multiplayer connections. Black Ops 4 opens up the Specialist HQ missions with a cutscene in which it showcases some of the missions that Ruin mentioned in Black Ops 3's transmissions. The opening sequence and operation that was detailed was Ruin, Battery, and a character we had never known before, Jessica Mason Green. In this mission, we see that it's a setup and that Jessica, presumably the CO on the op, breached first but then got shot in the face, and from there we see her jaw hanging by a thread, and we eventually are brought to believe that she had died, thanks to the continuation of that cutscene in which we end up seeing Jessica's sister Savannah and Jessica's daughter Lucy at her graveside in Arlington. That gravestone in Arlington gave us the confirmation that we need to be able to finish this lineage of the Mason family tree, because on that gravestone we see it plain as day, Jessica Mason Green, confirmed as her full name, and that maiden name, of course, being Mason. So we now can discern that full lineage and that full family tree, that Alex Mason was the grandfather. He was the one that started this whole storyline and this whole universe. David Mason was his son, which he might be even in Black Ops 4. We end up knowing that Alex Mason is, and we'll get to that again later on in our entire storyline video. As crazy as it sounds, he is in Black Ops 4. Then we have underneath David Mason as his daughter, Jessica Mason Green, and what seemingly is Savannah Meyer. But Savannah is still the wild card in this family tree, because it's something that may end up a marriage situation in which she's not actually blood related to Mason. So she may in fact be a sister-in-law, or another probable case is that David Mason may have married somebody with a daughter, to which that daughter that was already in the picture may have been Savannah. Now, of course, we can take this a step further. Jessica Mason Green obviously has a daughter, that being Lucy, but after this, that's where the bloodline seemingly stops. But the thing is that this now ties Black Ops 1, 2, and 4 together. But what about Black Ops 3? This is where we're gonna start diving into some deep theory here, and where nothing is confirmed, but it does make sense where this could go. The overarching link, once again, may fall in line with multiplayer, how we mentioned that campaign and multiplayer was that transitioning factor where they eventually bridged the gap in Black Ops 3. Now that we know that Jessica Mason Green is related to the Mason family, we can now take a little further look into her personal story, because she actually may be Spectre. We have to go back deep into the hidden roots of Black Ops 4, because the overarching story in the background is honestly a lot deeper than many may consider. And at one point, the sisters of Dr. Savannah Meyer as well as Jessica Mason Green get into an argument over the project that Savannah is working on. That is, again, in itself absolutely massive, and I'm super excited to detail that all for you, but eventually it comes down to being super unethical. So Jessica ends up threatening to whistleblow the entire project, and an entity that may actually surprise you of Menendez, who again somehow fits into this equation, threatens to have her killed. So this is where we start to see this now tie into that original cutscene for the Specialist missions, in which that setup seemingly was the assassination attempt of Jessica Mason Green. But after that, we end up seeing that Jessica goes into hiding, and later on in that story that goes on at the same time, her daughter Lucy is brought back into custody of Jessica, as we later learn that Lucy is kidnapped from Savannah, who was taking care of Lucy as of her mother's air quote death. But where I think this starts to play in line is that I truly think that Savannah thinks that Jessica is dead, and that Jessica is truly off the grid, and that's where she becomes Spectre, the one that becomes this unknown figure. And plus, when we dive deeper into it, when we see her at the end of the Specialist missions, we end up seeing that she has a cybernetic jaw, something that will allow her to speak in a muffled and robotic voice with a voice changer, and also gets rid of what was probably an unusable and unrepairable jaw at that point when her, Battery, and Ruin were ambushed. Now, this is also where the scrutiny of conflicting theories can come into play as well, because, well, in Black Ops 4, it's a male voice via the voice changer, but it is something that the backstory seemingly plays in line as well with this, where Spectre seemingly had a crush on Ruin from what we were detailed in the Black Ops 3 Specialist transmissions. Additionally, if I'm not mistaken, one portion where the voice changer fails in Black Ops 3 multiplayer, it reveals a shrieking woman woman's voice, which could be very similar to what we see as matching in line with Jessica Mason Green. But of course, the tendencies of simply staying in the shadows, being the one with surgical precision, the one that no one knows who this is, could again easily tie in line with Jessica Mason Green. But one glaring problem again comes down to the timelines, but we also don't need to worry about that because as we mentioned, Black Ops 4 chronologically comes before Black Ops 3. It's pre-DNI and there's a lot of different ways that point to this. We see that the specialist being recruited is before the DNI. We end up seeing that even in multiplayer, there's an audio cue that says, "Get kinetic, we're outside the wire," whenever you start up a match. So this is something that takes place before that entire simulation of Black Ops 3, where again, multiplayer was something that wasn't real life, but instead a combat sim. So while Black Ops 3 may take place from 2065 to 2070, and these characters may be well older than somebody that is able to fight a stealthy battle, we see that Jessica Mason Green is supposedly dead, air quote on that, at the age of 30, so add on another 22 to 27 years, that doesn't make her the prime candidate, but it does because everyone in Black Ops 3 is a simulation. So by that, we can now start to see that if this link to Spectre is in fact true, it finally links Black Ops 1, 2, 3, and 4 together via one elongated storyline of the Mason family. Now, while it might be a little bit more convoluted than a straightforward campaign would detail, it is still something that I think is truly fascinating. The fact that this has been going on for so long, and even though while it might be added in and some new ways are written in via lore with each individual game that comes out, and Black Ops 5 may continue that if there is one, to which we see more continuation of this, to me it's kind of fascinating that this transcends just a single campaign, and that we now see this come over from just campaign in Black Ops 1 and 2 to what may very well be multiplayer in Black Ops 3 and what is actually in Black Ops 4. It's very fascinating to me, and hopefully this clarifies something here for you and maybe clears the air on where the Mason family has been the past 8 years. But that said, that's where we're gonna wrap it up. Love to get your thoughts and feedback down there in the comment section down below. What do you think of this? Are you guys a fan of the fact the storyline crosses those boundaries of campaign into multiplayer? Are you guys kind of blown away by this? Or whatever it may be, feel free to let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video though. If you did, make sure you drop a like down below. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Black Ops 4, multiplayer, blackout, zombies, and even storyline stuff like this. We got you covered with the best of updates, news, information, best class setups, tips, tricks, all that good stuff. We got you covered here on the channel. So if any of that interests you, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing regarding all of it. If you guys also want to follow over on Twitter and Instagram, those are the best places to get connected from outside of YouTube. Practically live on both those. So if you guys want to strike up a conversation, ask me a question, whatever it may be, that link is down there in the description below. But all that said and out of the way, hope you guys have a fantastic day. Thank you all so much for watching. Mine has been Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.